Hi, I'm Jane Velez Mitchell for Jane Unchained, and I am here with Donnie Moss of TheirTurn.net and Chris Dietrich of, I'm going to start one more time. Hi, I'm Jane Velez Mitchell with Jane Unchained, here with Donnie Moss of TheirTurn.net and Chris Dietrich of Direct Action Everywhere, and we're also joined by Alex Hershaft of Farm Animal Rights Movement. And something very disturbing happened recently during a protest outside a pig slaughter facility. Alex, just tell us basically what the heck happened.
Well, what happened is World Day for Farm Animals, which is observed on October 2nd every year for the last 33 years. And in past years, we have gone out to the Smithfield Slaughterhouse in Smithfield, Virginia, to protest the killing of pigs in that facility. And so in the past, what would happen is I would sit down in front of the leading truck, and then they would call the police, and the police would come and arrest me. And it looks like we may have gotten my picture on another camera here.
Okay, then we could, why don't we stop this? I'll tell you what, we're going to have to, you think you do have a picture?
Well, we do have a picture of me, but now we need to join you.
There we go, hold on, there you go.
Oh,
there you go. Now turn it to you. What I'm going to do is just continue the broadcast and edit this part out. Now, Alex?
Yeah.
You got to turn off the other computer.
Wait a second. We're making some final adjustments.
Okay, can you just talk for a second?
Yes, I can talk for a second.
And that sounds good. Now, one thing speak up. Pretend I'm your hard of hearing aunt that you have to over-articulate for.
I can also plug in as a microphone.
No, you're fine. Just talk up.
Okay.
If you speak, project, right?
I'm projecting.
You gotta use your theater voice. Okay, great. And also, let's get right to the incident, okay? Let's get right to the incident first. Then we'll backtrack about what happened in previous years, because I want to get to the exciting video right off the bat, okay? So we're going to start all over again. Hi, I'm Jane Velez Mitchell with Jane Unchained, here with Donnie Moss of TheirTurn.net, Chris Dietrich of Direct Action Everywhere, and Alex Hershaft of Farm Animal Rights Movement. Alex, you held a protest in Virginia, and it got very, very controversial. What happened?
What happened is that the truck drivers carrying the pigs to the Smithfield Slaughterhouse tried to run us over instead of stopping and calling the police. This was totally unprecedented. We were out there at 7 o'clock in the morning waiting for the trucks to come in. There were about 25 of us. And when the first truck arrived around 8:45, I sat down in front of it, and Chris and several other folks joined us. I was sitting on the apron on the driveway coming into the slaughterhouse. The other folks were standing. The driver never slowed down. He just kept coming. And the folks who were standing were able to get out of the way. I was sitting, so I couldn't get up fast enough. Fortunately, at the last minute, I rolled out of the way, and the truck just missed me by about an inch. Did
you think you were going to get hit? Did you see your life flash before you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It was very, very close. And then people were so upset by what they saw being done to me that they all stormed into the driveway, all 25 of them. And then a second truck came in, and that's the video that everybody has seen, the second truck coming in, and that there were about 12 people who were trying to stop that one. That one did stop, and then just started pushing people slowly until the police intervened and made them stop and cleared the demonstrators out of the way, and so that he could get by. But this
Okay,
is totally
and hold on one second, and I'll edit this down. Don't rock back and forth because it makes your image fuzzy. Thank you, sir. Chris Dietrich, you were there. Show us the injury that you say you got on your hand and tell us what happened from your perspective.
Well, admittedly, it's I'm not quite sure how well you can see it here and then here. Admittedly, they are minor. What Alex was talking about with the first truck, everything he said was correct. I was behind him when it was happening, and I saw him shuffle his body out of the way in the nick of time. I mean, he would have been killed, no doubt. The truck passed Alex. I had a sign I was holding up. I pressed the sign up against the grill of the truck, pushing with all my strength. Obviously, I couldn't do much. After a few seconds, realizing it was not going to stop, I stepped out of the way. Now, as far as what happened with the second truck, when I fell, the second truck came through. Once again, was not stopping. Once again, I was pushing up against it. I kind of turned around at one point. I'm not quite sure why, but then kind of tripped over myself, fell on the ground, and luckily no one was hurt because of the first incident or the second incident. Very easily, if say the first incident especially, the truck was moving faster. If I would have tripped over my feet, I would be dead. And Alex, he could have been killed very easily.
Well, Dottie Moss, I want to read a statement from Smithfield Foods, quote, "While we certainly respect the right of any organization to express its opinions in a public forum, we believe this effort is misguided. At Smithfield, one of our primary responsibilities is ensuring the well-being of our animals. Our animal care policies and procedures lead the industry, and we have a zero-tolerance policy for any neglect or abuse, although all the animals that were in the truck presumably were slaughtered."
Yeah, how could you possibly claim to care about the well-being of animals and claim that they're not being abused when these terrified, intelligent creatures are standing in line and will be turned upside down and have their throats slit? I mean, it's abuse beyond anything we could ever think of, except perhaps Alex Hershaft, who, in spite of how young he looks, is in his 80s and was a Holocaust survivor. And so, you know, when I see these images of these metal trailers, you know, I can't help but think of the people who were in metal trailers, and I wonder if that's what motivates you. You know, the memories that you have from the war, is that what motivates you to go out and be a voice for those who are in these horrific trailers being carted off to their deaths?
It has a lot to do with it. I can certainly see the analogy between what was done to us and what we're doing to the animals. In fact, I recently completed a tour of Israel universities speaking about this very subject. And a copy of my talk on YouTube.
Israel is now the global center of animal rights. They just had a protest with 15,000 people turning out to speak against animal slaughter for food, which is obviously unnecessary. I haven't eaten meat in decades. I'm fine. I'm doing just fine. We have many ultra-marathoners who don't eat meat. We have children who've been raised from birth who don't eat meat. It's clear that meat is not only not necessary, but it's deleterious to our health. It's a leading cause of heart disease. It contributes to the obesity crisis. So you are demonstrating against pigs being taken to slaughter, just as people demonstrate against dogs being taken to slaughter in Korea, but because it's legal, you're considered the bad guy in a sense, because I noticed, Alex, that the cops were lecturing you and Chris and the other protesters, they weren't like calling out the drivers. Chris, let me put this to you. It seemed like when the cop arrived, he's kind of scolding you guys a little bit.
Definitely, and the police officer's point about the cars being on the side of the road, a couple inches on the road, he was very concerned about that, but not concerned at all about the fact that people could have been very easily killed. And I understand the rule of law. I understand that if we stand there, that there's a possibility that we are going to get arrested. That's fine. It doesn't give the truck driver the right to just roll us over. It seemed surreal. It was very strange.
Alex, have you hired an attorney? My understanding is, reading a news article, that you were looking for an attorney. What are you doing legally, if anything?
We have hired an attorney, and we're going to file a complaint with the Commonwealth's attorney for the county of Isle of Wight, which is where the slaughterhouse is located. We're looking for charges against the drivers and against Smithfield for allowing this thing to happen.
Well, first of all, I want to say that Smithfield is invited on this show anytime. We read their statement. We'd like to hear from them if they have anything to say. But, Alex, let me ask you, you said that you've done this before and that the trucks never tried to move past you in the way that they did, that they stopped and sort of acknowledged that you're demonstrators trying to block the trucks. You feared arrest, but you never feared really getting run over. So what has changed?
As nearly as I can tell is the mindset of the Smithfield people in charge of transportation. They knew we were there. They were out there in force. They just decided that rather than have us arrested and lose those valuable 5 minutes or so that it would take for the police to come out and arrest us, that they would rather just try to run us over.
Well, do you feel that they were really trying to run you over, or do you feel that they were trying to perhaps say that we're not going to acknowledge your protest? In other words, you feel that they really tried to run you in particular over, Alex?
In my case, there's no doubt about it, because I couldn't possibly get up on time. If I was standing, yes, but with me sitting, there was and the speed with which he was advancing, he never even stopped. He just kept going, and he saw me in plain view. Yeah, there was no opportunity really for me to get up and get out of the way. If I fortunately was able to just roll out of the way at the last second.
Well, I'm very happy because we need you. You are one of the fathers of our movement, and we certainly need you around to speak for the voiceless animals. Donnie Moss, what does this say about the state of our movement? Obviously, every single social justice movement has required peaceful, nonviolent disruption, which is what this is. This wasn't throwing stones at the slaughterhouse. This wasn't trying to do anything violent. It was simply standing in the street as these trucks approached. Similar kinds of demonstrations happened repeatedly during the civil rights movement, during the movement to get women the right to vote, during the LGBT movement to get gay rights. The list goes on and on. What are your thoughts about what this says about where our movement is and where, let's say, industry is in reaction to our movement?
I think it was Wayne Shung who pointed out in a blog that every social justice movement has experienced civil disobedience as a way to move ahead. Without these kinds of disruptions, without direct action and civil disobedience, we simply can't move in the direction that we need to move. I think it's pivotal, and the people who put themselves in harm's way on behalf of the animals, whether it's Alex and Chris in Virginia or the activists in France who just a few days ago were attacked by riot police for blocking traffic entering a bullfight arena, or activists in Israel who are storming into slaughterhouses and freeing animals. I mean, this is what it's going to take to wake the world up and to move the needle in the right direction.
So what is your takeaway from this, Alex?
The takeaway is that a couple. One is that obviously we need to leave an impression on Smithfield, make sure that this doesn't happen to the next demonstrator that's trying to block the trucks. And the other takeaway is that we have really activated about 25 people. I was really amazed that these people just came out basically to hold signs. They were so enraged by what happened to me and to Chris and some of the other folks that they just stormed the second truck. And I think these are the very people who have been activated enough where they may be willing to do these things on their own in the future. I hope so.
Alex, were you shocked or surprised or not by the reaction of the police officer who was kind of, in a way, scolding you guys and saying, well, protests are okay, but you can't get in the middle of the street?
Well, it's a small-town police department, and they're not really used to these kinds of events. So, I mean, they were confused, and they made some mistakes, but I think on the whole, they did the best they could under the circumstances.
Donnie, in Israel, 15,000 people just marched for animal rights, for veganism, to end the killing of animals for food, which is completely unnecessary and destroying our climate and bad for human health. And yet, today, the Health and Human Service Secretary is testifying before Congress and the Agriculture Secretary, and they're pushing for more fat in food as opposed to plant-based. Our government is, in my humble opinion, completely under the sway, under the thumb of the meat and dairy industry, particularly the USDA. Why aren't we massing by the tens of thousands outside Capitol Hill and doing demonstrations similar to the demonstrations going on in Israel?
First of all, we need campaign finance reform in this country because our government is in the pocket of big industry, big animal agriculture, agribusiness. That's number one. But number two, with regard to why we're not out in the streets in the numbers that we see in these other countries, in Spain, in France, and Israel, it's a mystery. I don't know if social media has made us complacent, that we think we can be activists, keyboard warriors, or if it's a fear of the Animal Enterprise Terrorism Act. But for whatever reason, it seems like we're wired here in America not to be as proactive and as aggressive as activists in Europe and Israel.
Let me also ask about the lack of media coverage of this, because one of the reasons we formed Jane Unchained, and I think therereturn.net as well, is because mainstream media is not covering these issues. Chris, were you shocked that this didn't get picked up by more stories, the fact that Alex was, and I have to say allegedly for legal reasons, almost run over by this truck?
It's amazing. At this point, the one video has almost 610,000 views. And the fact that we've had only one media outlet cover it is just incredible. I have seen your videos, Jane, and you did one with Donnie about media blackout, how these industries have so much power that they can control what gets out there. So I'm really hoping through getting more hits on the Facebook video that, like I said, has almost 610,000 views, and what you're doing here today, we can get it out there somehow, some way to the mass public.
Well, an incident like this makes me redouble my efforts, which are already around the clock, to speak for voiceless animals and the people who fight for them because of this mainstream media blackout. What has this incident where you feel, Alex, you almost lost your life to a pig slaughter truck, a truck filled with animals who did indeed presumably lose their lives. Pigs, sentient beings, intelligent beings, more intelligent than the dogs that we have at home. What has this near-death experience brought to you in terms of your determination?
Well, it has told me that I shouldn't be retiring as yet, that despite my age, there is still a lot for me to do in this movement.
And you, Chris?
Friday was the most impactful event of my life, and after that, I just want to do more and more and more. I'm not doing enough, and I'm going to keep working hard for the animals.
Oh, wait, it's back. It's back. Okay, we better wrap it up. I'm going to stop. Just finish your thought, okay?
Oh, I was just saying that after Friday's event, how impactful it was on me. I've been bothered by it since then, and I just want to work harder. I can't do enough. I'm dedicated. I'm more dedicated than I've ever been to animal liberation.
Well, I can tell that you are emotional, and with that, we'll leave it. Jane Unchained reporting on an extraordinary and disturbing event. Thank you.